How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Hopefully it's having a lovely day. Cincinnati Bengals 34, Indianapolis Colts 14. The Bengals, the widest margin of victory they have seen in over a year. Last one was against the Carolina Panthers in mid-November of last season. Think about that. No Joe Burrow. Bengals get their biggest win in over a year, late in the football season, against a team in a wild card spot, a team that has won 4 straight football games in the Indianapolis Colts, a team that has been playing some really good football. And the Bengals, led by none other than Jake the Snake Browning, 275 yards, 75% completion percentage once again this week. Through that one interception was a ball that was a bit of a tip there. Could have been caught, could have been thrown better types of situation. And man, the more and more you watch these football games, it starts to feel more and more like a young Joe Burrow. A young Joe Burrow. I tell you what, I'd like to see with a veteran Joe Burrow. We've seen a couple of times this game, the Bengals want a little no-huddle action. I mean, we get Joey B on that. It makes you wonder if Joey B just doesn't want to do that. The fact that they kind of explored that Jake Browning a couple of times. But nonetheless, Jake Browning, 3 straight games now, last 2 games specifically, playing stellar football. We've seen him this game a couple of times against an Indianapolis pass rush that has been the second-ranked pass rush in the league when it comes to sacking opposing teams' quarterbacks, having 0 sacks in this game. A couple of credit to Jake Browning. There was a couple of times it was defenders straight in this guy's face, taking shots, and he's throwing it over their head, lofting it over their head. Smart football, high IQ football, not getting a lot of deflections at the line in that regards. And he stood in that pocket and made those throws. Again, you got to give him so much credit. Like, that's only been playing 3 games now in the NFL, including the partial one a little bit more. But if you consider that he's got those kind of guys in his face, that kind of pass rush in his face, and he's just dropping them dimes in there, playing with a lot of confidence. Again, you got to give credit to the offensive line. Sacked 4 times, sacked 2 times, and now sacked 0 times in this game is Jake Browning. You can see it. You can see it much like last season. The further you get into the season, the continuity, these guys have been playing together all season. They've been healthy, fortunately. And you see them finally getting to play together a lot, and it's really starting to come together. Now, Jake Browning, as of right now, is getting rid of the football slightly, very, very slightly quicker than Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow gets rid of the football very, very quickly. Top 5 in the NFL in the past couple of seasons. And you think, hey, that's going to help the offensive line. But we're watching an offensive line play, and you watch him drop back, and you look at that average yards per attempt or whatever, going skyrocketing. Again, it just reminds us so much of Joe Burrow's first year, except for the fact that he's not getting killed back there. But, you're able to drop back and make those big plays down the field, which we've seen him do more frequently lately. Stretch the field and make the plays, make the throws. Credit the offensive line. Chase Brown comes in. It wasn't as stellar on the ground this week, but we're still seeing his vision. We're still seeing his explosive. We've seen him make that play in the open field on a pass. I mean, you get him in open space, he's looking nasty. At that big pass touchdown, he went out there, that was the NBA. There'd be some memes all over the place. He broke that guy's ankles out at 5-yard line. What a move he made. He made it look so smooth. Chase Brown's going to be a dog. Chase Brown's going to be a guy that, all things considered, he should be taking over the starting job next season, potentially a season after that. We'll see how it goes. How about the screen game this week? The Bengals clearly want to keep that implemented. They clearly want to figure something out. It has been something that's just, it hasn't ticked. It hasn't ticked. It didn't tick last week. They said, all right, we're going to do something else. This week, we've seen it to Mixon. We've seen it to Brown. We've seen some pretty big chunk plays. The blockers out there getting blocked, guys on bodies, giving the running back, giving the wide receiver, whatever, run lanes to make a play. That could be huge. If they can get this screen game going, and then get the run game going, the play action going, and then you already have Jake Browning throwing dots down the field, they're going to be a tough team to stop. About this defense. This defense would have pitched a shutout today if it wasn't for the pick 6, and if it wasn't for the Trey Hendrickson kind of boneheaded roughing the passer play. He shouldn't have. Then he was clearly passing it, roughing the passer, took a couple steps, pushed him down. Trey Hendrickson later in the game closed this game out, made up for that mistake. But that was the drive. They drove down the field and scored that touchdown. That was the only touchdown of defense. That was the only points of defense on all game. To think they would go up against an Indianapolis Colts team that loves to run the rock, that's been playing really good football against a Bengals team that's really been struggling to stop the run, really been struggling to stop teams on defense in general. They go out there and pitch a shutout dang near. Credit to this defense. Playing a heck of a football game. All around the board. This team played some good football today. The run game, again, a little under 4 yards per carry. That's been the one thing for the Bengals. If they can figure that out. Still, it didn't feel like as much of a black hole. They was able to run the football 21 times with Joe Mixon. I mean, there was obviously ahead in the game, but they were still getting yards. Joe Mixon, again, I think Chase Brown's going to be a huge plus for Joe Mixon. Mixon getting a little older. You give him a little bit of time off the field. He ain't going to be the 3-down back. The more time he's got off the field, more he can kind of recover, rest up, be a little bit more spring in his step. We're seeing him a little bit feistier out there. We know when Joe Mixon's a little bit of a feisty running back, a bit of a truck out there, so we see some of his best football. Nonetheless, what a football game. What a football game. Credit a lot to Zach Taylor for game plan. A 20-point victory with a backup quarterback late in the season, now vying and in a tie for a wild card spot at the Cincinnati Bengals. Conference record's kind of lit, and they're not even close to winning a tiebreaker. But if they can start to weed out some of this competition, they got wins over the Colts now. They got wins over the Jaguars now. You beat these teams currently in the wild card slots. The Texans are going to be a big one in there as well, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens with the Texans. They lost again this week too, right? I believe they did. Nonetheless, love y'all's thoughts. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.